released in 2023. This unlicensed 1/6 scale Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII Advent Children by GameToys had sent collectors into an utter tizzy. But before getting into all of that, let's first go through all the different variations of this release. GT006A is the standalone version of Cloud, which includes the fusion sword, standard hand parts, and a flip phone. GT006B refers to the standalone Fenrir. It's got all the features like lights and blade storage compartments. And GT006C is the deluxe version. On top of everything here, the Fenrir will also be bundled with a prop hollow blade, an additional side-glancing head sculpt option with an interchangeable hairstyle, a set of goggles, and a pair of gripping hands for the bike handles. One way to tell the contents apart is by the gold trim on the deluxe boxes, as opposed to the silver trim on the standard ones, and this applies to both Cloud and Fenrir. In classic GameToys fashion, the head sculpt is a substantial improvement over the last, and dare I say, Cloud's likeness here is even better than the promo pics, and it's far and away the best portrait released by GameToys so far. Not only are the directions and sizes of the hair spikes in harmony, they are also perfectly framing Cloud's face. All the little nits I had for the remake Cloud, like the hair proportions, have all been addressed. The position of the spikes add a layer of depth that looks just amazing in hand, and the broad strokes are in just the right places to highlight Cloud's side profile. The details on the Fenrir earring are also readily discernible, though it is something to watch for when swapping head sculpts. Regardless of version, it's deceptively easy to lift out the delicate hairpiece, which I recommend doing for a better grip, as to not risk damaging the face and earring. The magnetized hairpiece is a snug fit due to the meticulously precise sculpting. If you have the deluxe version, watch for this notch here on the wind-pressed hairpiece, because it'll take some patience to wedge it behind Cloud's ear and close out this gnarly gap. Besides using this with the goggles, this option is also great for aerial poses, like when Clouds casually jump in the height of a whole-ass building. As you might have guessed, GameToys went all in for this Cloudy Wolf costume. So despite its complexity, everything comes together really well. The indigo on the shirt is very accurate, and there's just something so right about the thread count. I'd argue it's one of the best scale recreation of a rib-knitted garment. The GigaChat popped collar is well formed, and it's even posable thanks to the inlaid wire and functioning zipper. No staining this time around, thank goodness. The sleeve is double layered to fit the wired lining on the cuff, and fortunately the added thickness does provide a sense of airiness to the arm. It's connected to the underside of the shirt via 3 snap fit buttons, so try not to join them together by pressing these buttons into the rubber shoulder. Underneath is the ribbon worn by the cast of FF7 in remembrance of a certain character. It appears to be woven from a really stiff fiber, so it could hold a pose without causing too much strain on the arm. The pauldron is fully loaded, from the crispy details on the Fenrir emblem and its separately attached ring, to the weathering pattern across its surface. One nit I have though, and it's a big one, is how easily it can be removed. It's affixed to the harness by a tiny stub, so it just pops off when you raise the arms too high, or if you just sneeze in its general vicinity. I actually left mine off for some of those more extreme poses. Both the waistcloth and the sheaths are connected by these mixed medium cross straps. The main piece serving as a support for the pauldron and sheaths is made of hard plastic, with the latter being firmly attached to each strap by a screw. Every single scabbard is also made of plastic, with brilliantly sculpted stitchings, textures, and painted buttons. And the entire piece moves as one, which is much easier to manage than its VTS Toys counterpart. But this also means the locks aren't movable, though I rarely find it to be a problem, as the swords are a secure fit thanks to the tight tolerance. The waistcloth has a wired lining throughout most of its perimeter, with another snap fit button on the waist acting as a belt to relieve some tension on the adjustable side strap. There's also a fold here that's stitched together, which cleverly forms a layer around the waist. Although mostly covered, GameToys didn't skip out on the pants. They come with a leather belt, working pockets, and even buckles on both the inner thighs and ankles. The 2000ness of the character design really shows when you sag the pants down a bit, so they're baggy around the ankles. The boots are fully sculpted, and when combined with the excellent paint app, these triple zippers can even gleam through these dark layers. The ankle joints could use a little more strength, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Alrighty, I have some great news for those thirsty Cloud fans out there. GameToys has taken the liberty to interpret Cloud's upper body physique, which, at least to my knowledge, has always been implied but never shown in any official capacity, and the hybrid seamless body they came back with is juicy. Cloud lifts, bro. The pecs, lats, biceps, and delts are sculpted to perfection. They even got his shoulder blades, which you won't even see because of the weapon holder. The popping veins on the arms are a bit much for me though. Anyway, the head's got the usual spin, plus a healthy helping of side-to-side swing. Cloud can look up decently far as well, perfect for riding the Fenrir. The instructions lay out the limitations for the arms quite clearly, and they're reasonable too, as extreme angles will stress out both the body and the joints underneath. According to GameToys, these bodies are made from a medical-grade silica gel, but even so, I wouldn't recommend leaving Cloud in extreme poses for long. With abs like these, Cloud is capable of a very robust crunch. And from the pelvis down, we're back to the standard jointed body, so articulations here are par for the course. Though for the first time, these ankle joints are actually somewhat loose, at least for my copy. The wide collars on these boots enable a fair range of motion, but the hefty fusion sword is likely going to be shifting Cloud's weight balance, so using a display stand is unfortunately almost required. And on that note, the engineering efforts that went into the accessories are breathtaking. Starting with the swords, we have the main blade in its collapsed form. Unlike the VTS version, which is a flat silver, the GameToys version has a level of depth and weathering to its paint app. Pull open both sides of the blade, unfold the handguard, and the expanded form of the main blade comes to life in all its details. Next we have the hollow blade. True to its design in the movie, it's mostly hollow to form the sharp end of the fusion sword. The handle flaps are surprisingly sturdy. And keep an eye out for these circular magnets, as a few of these came loose right out of the box for me, which I guess is why this super glue is packaged with the Fenrir. Oh, and any adhesive spilling over the magnets will strip out the paint, so be careful if you need to use it. In comparison, the prop hollow blade from the Deluxe version is much narrower. It doesn't combine, sure, but it does fit nicely in the hands and in Fenrir's sword compartments. I kinda wish they did this for the main blade as well, because it's the only piece that I can't fit into the scabbard. Next is a pair of mirroring back blades, each with an accurately serrated edge. Again, watch for the magnets on the flip side. I love the dark gradient surrounding the bolts on these side blades. And you guessed it, more magnets here as well. Now, to assemble the fusion sword, start by collapsing the main blade. Slot in this cover piece to the base of the expanded handguard, which is discreetly molded with sockets for holding other swords. Then slam the back blades together. Line up the handles into the base piece. Oh look, more magnets. Split open the handles on the hollow blade, then snap it to the main blade. Fold up the handles and handguards on the side blades, which can be moved independently. Then slap these bad boys to the side, and that's the fusion sword. It goes without saying that your grip on the sword might overpower the magnets, but I'd say everything holds together fairly well, with the cover on the base of the handguard being especially thoughtful. And like the last release, the pommel is also removable, so there's no struggle to get the hilt into the hand parts. And that reminds me, the options here are sturdy as ever, and heating them up before swapping is always ideal. Otherwise, we've got another quality soft plastic vambrace on the right arm, and gloves that are detailed down to the cuff button. And remember, the character design is still aggressively 2005, as evident from this Panasonic P900 IV flip phone. The Fenrir wallpaper is actually screen accurate. Originally, 20% of this release was gonna have this alternate Sephiroth wallpaper, but this was shipped with every figure in the end, which is nice. Oh, and GameToys made sure the phone can flip sideways just like the real thing, because of course they did. The Deluxe exclusive goggles come with a removable strap and a pair of tinted lenses. Only the wind-pressed hair is sculpted with the notches to fit this thing, and as always, caution is advised here to not scratch up the face. And finally, GameToys brought back the tried and true hexagonal display base. Only this time, the metallic nameplate is already attached to the base. One last thing to mention before wrapping up, and it's the reason why many collectors were nervous to receive this release. It might be tough, but do you see these divots on the shoulder? I can't determine the cause, but there are a few of them across the arms and shoulders for my copy. And it's not the only issue either. This release was shipped with blister packs instead of the usual foam trays, which is often attributed as the cause for paint chipping and damaged accessories. Apparently, the batch I received already had extra padding to mitigate the problem. Now, of course, it's unrealistic to expect huge boxes like these to not receive any signs of wear from transit, and I can't speak for how widespread the issue is based on anecdotal experience alone. But the packaging choice certainly adds an air of uncertainty for anyone looking to pick up this release. On a happier note, let's also consider how far we've come in a little under 2 years. Here's the remake Cloud from 2022, and in order to truly appreciate the strides that GameToys have made, we have to take a side-by-side look. Compared to the Advent Children version, the hair texture and the way it hangs down the face has dramatically improved. Cloud's eyes and mouth are much more accurate. The paint app provides a sharper Mako glow in the eyes and a much better overall complexion. While I think the remake Cloud is still a very solid release, this new head sculpt simply takes GameToys to the next level. And for those who are curious, the Advent Children head sculpt is perfectly compatible with the remake body. That's if you don't mind that Cloud is wearing his Fenrir earring. Then we have Zack and Sephiroth. Seeing Cloud in this costume next to these two is truly something special. It's also interesting to note that the fusion sword is slightly longer than the Buster swords. Now, I don't know the exact dimensions between these weapons, but hey, I ain't gonna lose any sleep over the difference. As per tradition, this segment will feature fellow contestants from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Breath of the Wild Link by Medicom, Street Fighter V Ryu by Iconic Studios, and an unlicensed Bayonetta by Very Cool. Then from Naruto, we have Itachi Uchiha, Madara Uchiha, and Kakashi Hatake, all by the brilliant and wonderful Rocket Toys, because there's an unsubstantiated rumor that GameToys and Rocket Toys are one and the same. While their pursuit for excellence, craftsmanship, and even their instruction manuals are similar, I honestly shouldn't fuel the rumor by talking about it. And finally, we have the Avalanche leader Barrett Wallace by Shark Toys, and obviously, version AC Cloud by VTS Toys. It's worth mentioning that all of these figures are unlicensed, and yet GameToys' passion for the best product is in a league of its own. But to VTS Toys' credit, the rusty Buster Swords set piece still works like a charm. And at the risk of chipping the paint, GameToys' fusion sword is loosely compatible with the Shinra building diorama as well. So there you have it, the 1/6 scale Advent Children Cloud by GameToys. To no one's surprise, GameToys had once again outdone themselves, and this is easily figure of the year for me. The choice of packaging materials is definitely unfortunate, but it's also important to acknowledge that GameToys' artistry has continuously bolstered with each release. At the time of this writing, the remaining inventory allotments are still being fulfilled. Hopefully, GameToys will fix the packaging issue in some ways. Well, this video has gone on for way too long, but stay tuned. We'll be taking a deep dive into the Fenrir next.